Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialists. Happy Monday to everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Our daily updates from our little restoration shop here. All these beautiful and colorful V-dubs. Let's see what we worked on today. So just briefly, and then I'll go into more detail, Rafa was working on the Ravana Green 74 Beetle. I worked on the 64 Sea Blue and the Pearl White 66. And Mr. Jacob worked on the Orange 70, 1970 Ghia here. So why don't we go ahead and start off with this beauty here. Put your sunglasses on because it is bright. Anyway, so yeah, Rafa worked all day on this one and pretty much concentrated on the rear suspension today. So if you follow the channel, you'll know that this is all together now and wasn't before. So I had previously installed the spring plates with new bushings and so on, and all this stuff powder coated. So today Rafa went ahead and installed the trailing arms, both sides, again, which I had Brian Roth over at Roth Vintage had pressed new bushings into the insides there where these trailing arms pivot. So those were all ready, just a matter of installing them. So yeah, Rafa went ahead and installed those, got new hardware for them from Wolfsburg West. So installed those and then went ahead and installed the backing plates, which again I had powder coated before with all new shoes and cylinders and everything. And we had previously cleaned up and clear coated the brake levers and the bearing cap and stuff like that. So yeah, this stuff all went together. New brake hardware, almost always replace that. It's pretty inexpensive, and the old stuff is 50 plus years old oftentimes, and don't necessarily always trust it. So yeah, new hardware almost always gets used on brakes. So yeah, that all went together pretty nicely today and looks amazing. Their drums are right there, which I had previously had powder coated as well, and I think I had them turned already too. So those are ready to go. The other thing Rafa did today was he went ahead and bolted the rear fenders back on. So when I pulled the spring plates out on these later cars that have the really long torsion bars, you have to move the fender out of the way to get the spring plates off, because you can see how this can't go very far before it hits that. So yeah, the fenders, the bolts from about here forward were out, and then the back ones were loose. So yeah, Rafa went ahead and put the beading back in there and tightened those up, got those all in place. So I think that is pretty much what he did on this one today. I don't remember if I mentioned this before. There was some stuff that he did when I was out that I didn't, that I wasn't sure. So I think he actually installed the hood when I was gone. I don't think the hood was on this car before I went out of town. But anyway, nonetheless, it's all on now. It's trim, it's handle, everything's all installed, adjusted. Looks amazing. Hopefully pretty soon we'll be getting the window seals and everything for this car, so we can go ahead and put the windows in. And according to Brian Roth, who's building the motor for this, which is going to be an otherwise stock 1776cc, originally a 1600 dual port, I think he's going to have that done this month. So yeah, hopefully we'll have the long block for this pretty soon, and then we can start working on the engine tin and everything, cleaning, powder coating, doing any body work that it may need and so on. So yeah, this baby is going to be moving right along here. So that was Rafa's day. I started out working on this guy here, the beautiful Sea Blue 64. And let's see what I did here. One of the things that I did was to install the decklid handle here, which works really well now. So the actual latch itself was kind of mutilated, and when you would try and when you would try and move it like that, it was popping out of the little groove that it sits in. So I had to spend a bit of time kind of straightening that thing out, getting it to move in there properly, and then got it on, and it wasn't really engaging the little latch down here on the body. So I had to kind of bend it a little bit to get it to actually like hook underneath that thing. You can see how it kind of goes up underneath there. So yeah, I spent a little bit of time tweaking that a little bit, tweaking this a little bit, and works great now. Yeah, give it a little push to compress the seal and turn, and there you go. Perfecto. So I did that, and I want to say there was something else I did. Let me look at my notes real quick. Okay, that's what I did. I knew there was something else that I did. So I had previously pulled his pedal assembly out and disassembled it. So today went ahead and sandblasted all those pieces and then painted them. So they're looking really nice now. And this will go back together tomorrow. I got new pedal pads coming for the clutch and brake and the throttle pedal. And yeah, so this will go back together tomorrow and go in the car. So yeah, that's the other thing I did today on the Sea Blue 64 is restore this pedal assembly. So let's talk about this guy a little bit here, the Pearl White 66. So as you can see, the front end is apart. So if you follow the channel, you know that the other day when I was working on this car, I was trying to do a front end alignment on it, and I was trying to adjust the camber on this side. So this is a ball joint car. You can adjust camber on ball joint cars, not so much on link pin cars anyway. And I just kept getting very weird behavior when I would try and adjust the camber. Like I would make big adjustments and then go and measure the camber, and like nothing was happening, which is super weird because, you know, basically there's a big eccentric nut here. You can see how eccentric that is. And so when you turn that big nut where it goes into the spindle right there, that causes the spindle to, you know, sort of tilt one way or the other in this way and also in this way. So you're kind of adjusting caster and camber at the same time. But anyway, I was making pretty big adjustments on that eccentric and then measuring the camber and not really seeing any change and just super weird behavior. So finally, long story short, grabbed the top of the wheel and was like pulling on it and getting like a degree plus of camber change. And so what I discovered was that the upper arm here had a lot of play in it, which typically means that the inner bushing is wore out. So, you know, that's not really a good or safe way to put a car together. So pulled it apart today. And the first thing, well, a couple things. First thing I noticed is when I pulled the top arm out, which was the first one that I pulled out, it was really, really hard to get out. Like I had to beat that arm out with a mallet, and it took a lot. And then when I got it out, I noticed that the leaf springs were like really, or the torsion leaves were like really pushed against this kind of like front lower edge of the beam here, and they should be more or less centered in there where they slide into the torsion arm. So there's a lot of pressure there. It's not just like laying there. I don't want to touch it because it's greasy, but I mean, I took a hold of those with my hand and tried to push them like more centered like they should be. I couldn't really budge it. So it's not just that they're like flopping around. They're tight that way. And likewise, when I went and pulled the bottom arm, I saw the same thing. So thought that was kind of curious. And then I went ahead and pulled the other side, the arms. And this is what the other side looks like. So sorry, it's a little bit dark, but this side actually looks pretty normal. You can see the torsion leaves are more or less centered in the housing. That's what it should look like. I mean, they're off a little one way or the other, but you know, not like the other side. And so I started thinking that that this beam is probably bent, and I kind of spent a lot of time laying under the car looking at it, and I can't really see that it's bent. But then finally what I did was I took some measurements between the body and the beam. I measured from the body to the beam in this direction, and then I also measured from like that bolt on the front of the body there that way, and I measured it on this side of the car, the passenger side, and on the driver's side. And what I found was that the beam on this side is actually like 1/2 inch back that way compared to the measurements on the other side. And so that kind of explains why these torsion leaves are that way, because the side of the beam seems to be that way, right? Which would make those appear to move forward. So this beam, I'm 90-something% sure is just bent. I may go ahead and pull the torsion leaves because it's possible that they're bent too, but based on the measurements between the beam and the body, again, which I did it in 2 directions to kind of verify that it wasn't just that the body was a little crooked or whatever. So it really seems like the beam itself is bent, like this side of the beam that way. So discussed with the customer, he stopped by and then sent him a bunch of pictures of what I found and stuff like that. And I think we're going to go ahead and put an adjustable front beam on this car, because not only does the beam appear to be bent, but there's still the original problem that's what kind of sent me down this path, where the inner bushing on this side seems to be worn, and that's where that kind of play in this direction was coming from the upper arm here. So the arms themselves don't appear to be bent or worn. It seems like it's the bushing that's causing the slop on this one. But then on top of that, like the whole beam seems like it's bent, and I think that's why this side was so hard to get out. So yeah, best solution, just throw this beam in the garbage and put a new one on that's adjustable. I mean, that's kind of the other thing with this car was that it was sitting really high in front, and I did re-index the back of the car, which originally was very low, to the right height, and the front of the car was still sitting really high. And it's possible that it might have like come down a little bit, maybe when I put gas in it and it had a spare tire up there, but it still was sitting like very much with the front up. So putting an adjustable beam on it will allow us to kind of like, set the attitude however we want, level, maybe even a tiny bit of rake. So anyway, that's what's going on with that one. That's why this is now a car sitting on jack stands with the front end tore apart. So my buddy Jason at Air Cooled Vintage Works is going to be supplying an adjustable front beam for this, and hopefully I'll be able to get that beam here in the next day or so, and then get this puppy together. So that's that one. So let's talk about this beauty here. So this car has been living outside for a while, and the other Ghia, so this one, if you're new to the channel or if you don't remember, this is a 70 Ghia that's come in for a restoration, and it's basically been waiting in the queue, so to speak, for to start its paint and body work. And luckily the body on this car is much nicer than the 68 Ghia, the green one that we're working on paint and body on now. But the other Ghia, the 68, we're hoping to actually paint that car next week, guys. It's been a long journey because that car was pretty much terrible as far as the amount of body damage and Bondo and rust and stuff, and then the floors are rusty. This car, as far as we can tell, is actually really nice as far as the body's concerned. I mean, it could be hiding some Bondo, we don't know, but from everything I've seen, this car is very straight, very solid, very rust-free. So we're hoping that the body work, paint and body work, will go a lot quicker on this one. But anyway, so being as how this one is probably just maybe a week or two, couple weeks away from starting body work, went ahead and had Mr. Jacob finish stripping this car down. So he had previously like removed lights and a bunch of stuff on the outside of the car, but hadn't really done anything under the trunk yet. So he went ahead and stripped out all the wiring and the fuse box and the brake reservoir, stuff like that. The gas tank is also removed. It's sitting in there now because it just seemed easiest to put it there for storage purposes for the time being. But yeah, so this is pretty much all ready for to start body work. We did go ahead and leave the seal on the hood and left the hood hood latch mechanism and stuff, and that's why the glove box is still in, because that way when Rene gets to this car, he can go and he can check the gaps and stuff like that with it latched, with the seal, pretty much like it'll be when the car goes back together, and do any fine tuning that he needs to. And then we'll pull the latch out and pull the seal out and stuff like that once we're happy with that fit. And the same is true on the rear deck lid. So the latch and everything is still on there, but that way Rene can, do any fine tuning of the fit here of the deck lid and stuff like that with the latch and everything, just like it's going to be, and then remove all that stuff when we're past that stage. But yeah, so Jacob spent a lot of time today just, continuing to strip this thing down. Went ahead and pulled the dash pad off, the gauges, pulled all those. The speedometer is just actually sitting here. It's all disconnected and stuff, but the steering wheel's got to come out for that to come out the rest of the way. But yes, he did a very good job of getting this thing stripped down and pretty much ready to start its bodywork journey here. Hopefully, maybe even like next week. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I think Rene is almost to the stage with the green Ghia, where he's going to be starting to do final blocking of the body like later this week, and then another coat of primer, another round of blocking, and then pretty sure it's going to be ready to spray like next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed on that one. Super long journey on that car. If you've been following along, you know how much rust and body damage and stuff that car had. So yeah, this is the next one to start paint and body. So super exciting. Well, all right, guys. I guess the only other thing to say is, as you can see, we moved some cars around. So this one is now in a place, the 63 Mouse Gray. We moved it today because I wanted to put this one up on jacks because I knew it was going to be immobile for at least a little while. And I didn't want this one, which previously was sitting here, to be blocked in. So we went ahead and basically swapped these two cars, because we may go ahead and put gas in this one here in the next day or so and take it for its first little maiden parking lot voyage. So stay tuned for that, because that's super exciting. Get this beauty on the road here pretty soon. Hopefully this week this car will be driven. So stay tuned. All right, guys. Well, busy day here in the shop, and hope you enjoyed our content. If you do, subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And click for notifications, and thank you all for watching. So we will see you again soon.